This is the text. Naikatra priya samvasaha Naikatra priya samhasaha Surdam chitrakarmananam Suhradam chitrakarmanam Oghena vayu Vyayanam Oghena Vayam Vyananam Plevanam Shrotosho Yatha Plevanam Shrotaso Yatha Naikatra Priya Samsaya Naikatra Priya Samvasa Suhrdama Chitrakarmanam Ogena Vyavanamanam Plavanam Shrotaso Yatha Naikatra Priya Samhasata Plavanam Shrotaso Yatha Naikatra Priya Samhasa Sudam Chitrakarmanam Ogena Vyavananam Plavanam Shrotaso Yatha Matajis Naikatra Priya Samhasa Sudam Chitrakarmanam Ogena Vyavananam Plavanam Shrotaso Yatha Naikatra Priya Samsaya Suham Chitrakar Mahananam Plavanam Shrotaso Yatha Na, not Ekatra, in one place, Priya Samvasa, living together with dear friends and relatives, Surdam, of friends, Chitrakarmanam, of all of us who have had varieties of reactions to our past karmas. Ogena, by the force, Vyuya Mananam, carried away, Plavanam, of the sticks and other objects floating in the water. Srotasaha, of the waves, Yatha, as. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada. Many planks and sticks, unable to stay together, are carried away by the force of a river's waves. Similarly, although we are intimately related with friends and family members, we are unable to stay together because of our varied past deeds and the waves of time. Please repeat after me. Many planks and sticks, unable to stay together, are carried away by the forces of a river's waves. Similarly, although we are intimately related with friends and family members, we are unable to stay together because of our varied past deeds and the waves of time. Purport by His Divine Grace Prabhupada. Vasudeva was lamenting because he and Nanda Maharaj could not live together. Yet, how could they live together? Vasudeva warns that all of us, even if intimately related, are carried away by the waves of time according to the results of past karmas. Om Jnantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavaunscham Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Kritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabho Nityananda Jaya Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a wonderful slok, first canto, second chapter, text number 18. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Please repeat after me. Nashta prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. By regularly attending classes of Srimad Bhagavatam, please repeat, by regularly attending classes of Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. I repeat this slok. Many planks and sticks, unable to stay together, are carried away by the force of the river's waves. Similarly, although we are intimately related with friends and family members, we are unable to stay together because of our varied past deeds and waves of time. So this is not the first time Vyasadeva has written this slok about planks and sticks getting together. Earlier he wrote about logs of wood, if I'm not mistaken, getting together. And just like you might have seen logs of wood getting together in a river, the river is flowing, the logs are together for a certain time, and then due to some circumstances of turbulence, etc., the logs separate out. Some logs remain behind, some logs go faster, some will go to left, some will go to right, etc. But they may not ever meet again. Similarly, people in this material world who have past material deeds, which are karmas. There are many types of karmas, as you know. One type of karma is known as vikarma. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explains that vi, the word vi comes from the Sanskrit word vish. Vish means poison. So, vi is a short form of vish. So, vikarma means poisonous karma. So, those karmas which we have done in the past, inevitably we have done, otherwise we wouldn't be here in the first place. So, vish or vikarmas are only eroded by association with pure devotees and rendering service unto them. That is a very important point. People who do not render devotional service cannot get rid of their past vikarmas. Vikarmas we've done. Whether you like it or not, you have to accept the fact, because the proof of the pudding is in the eating. You are here in this material world. Of course, this temple is not a material world, but I'm just saying grammatically you are in this world. So, since we are in the material world, by reduction ad absurdum, we've had past vikarmas. And these vikarmas are very dangerous because they give us again birth. And we never know what type of birth we'll get. Whether in the animal kingdom, in the insect, or fish, or what. And then once it's done, once we have gone into the womb of a mother, whether fish or a hog or dog, I don't know, then there's no way getting out. Then you have to go through the whole process all over again. And then you never know when you get the mercy of the Lord, mercy of the devotees, and the chanting of the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this chanting of this Mahamantra is the first step. This is the very first step. Just like a child takes a first step. May fall down, but it takes a step. Then again gets up, again chants, again gets up and again walks. Similarly, you have to keep on chanting this Mahamantra. Just like you keep on walking, there's nothing wrong with it. In this daily life, it's not that I finished my chanting 16 rounds. Prabhupada said minimum 16 rounds. So, please try to make sure that you remain fit, just like a person, supposing he walks only 16 steps, and then the doctor says, look, you didn't do enough exercise, 16 steps alone are not going to help you. You have to walk for an hour or something every day. Similarly, you have to chant for at least 2 hours. Okay? And if you do this minimum chanting of 2 hours, definitely you will finish your 16 rounds or more. So this is the first step in removing the vikarmas. Because how? What's the proof? Because you may ask me, this is a concoction of something or what? No. This is a final authority. Lord Krishna himself comes down as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He himself says, Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamaha tavagni nirvapanam shreya kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandambudivardhanam pratipadam purnamrata swadanam sarvatma param vijayate Shri Krishna sankirtanam. So, Cheto darpana marjanam, you have to cleanse your heart. Because the heart is full of 6 very dirty things. All of us. Regardless whether I'm sitting here or down there. Anybody. What are these 6 things? These are anarthas, we know these. Right? Repeatedly it has been told to you. But what is the root cause of all them? Anarthas. Why these dirty things have collected? It starts because in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, there are 3 roads to hell. 1, lust. 2, anger. And 3, greed. We've seen lots of it. 2008, I remember in October, November period, there was so much greed in this world, it was like an explosion or a volcanic burst of greed. I don't know if any of you have visited a volcano. I walked on a volcano, and a volcano was bursting not too far away in Iceland. But I wanted to go and experience what a volcano is like. I wouldn't recommend anybody to go there again. But the fact of the matter is, you never know when it will spurt out huge volumes of gas and hot molten lava. So greed is like that. Lust is like that. And anger is like that. All of you know, you have experienced some friend or a relative suddenly getting angry on you. It's like molten lava coming out, isn't it? At least when you've been married long enough, you know this. So, I don't know whether it's a female lava or a male lava, but anyway, it's lava. So it comes out. And then, what happens? There is a lot of smoke also. What is smoke? Smoke is a form of illusion. Because you forget who you are. You forget that we are Jivatmas, we are eternal servants of God. We are going to cover in today's lecture, because fortunately I've got a lot of time today, Sunday morning. So we are going to cover another very important portion on this very subject, wherein Lord Krishna, because he had told everything to Arjun 5,000 and odd years ago, but it was forgotten. Krishna himself says, over a period of time, time has an erosion property, and therefore this knowledge was forgotten when he had explained to Viveshwan, 3rd chapter, 1st slok of Bhagavad Gita. And he had to explain everything all over again to Arjun. And that's how we got the Bhagavad Gita. But that was also forgotten. So again, Lord Chaitanya had to come. And who became like Arjun? Who was the first person to receive this transcendental knowledge, science of Krishna consciousness from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? None other than Rupa Goswami. So after this short part of this purport, we will go straight, dive into the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Sindhu means what? The river, nectar, ocean of Krishna consciousness. Now, there's a wonderful thing going on. Some radio is going on, is it? Please switch off your mobiles and radios. Thank you very much. So, if you can kindly understand that Lord Krishna is so kind to us, he repeatedly sends his messengers. He repeatedly himself comes also. Now, who was the latest messenger who came here? None other than A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, because most of the Western world had forgotten Krishna consciousness. They were living a purely animalistic life. What is the animalistic life? Birth, death, old age and disease. In what form? Eating, sleeping, mating and defending. So they were only doing that all the time. So when Prabhupada reached the shores of USA, America, he said that they are in so much tamas gun. How am I going to preach this pure love of God, Krishna consciousness? Because the basic platform is not ready. However, actually, Krishna always helps his devotees. And always, even you, each one of you, when you have a difficult period, supposing you have a depression or mentally you are unhappy, the mind is such a thing, actually, that there is no happiness or distress in the body. Because the body is basically jada. Jada means dead. You see? But it's the mind which keeps on playing around inside. And mind makes you feel happy or unhappy. And the intelligence is supposed to guide the mind to Krishna consciousness. But sometimes the intelligence goes to sleep. And when the intelligence goes to sleep, what is it? When the Cat is asleep, the mice are at play. So when the intelligence is sleeping, the mind is at play. Isn't it? Even in the middle of the night, if you are trying to sleep, but still the mind is working. And you think of somebody said something, some action has happened in the day, and your sleep is disturbed. So similarly, the only solution to controlling the mind, because in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna himself says to Krishna that mind is like the wind. I cannot control my mind. It's even worse than the wind. Some people say the mind is worse than a monkey jumping from tree to tree. How do you control the mind? So Prabhupada has explained that your mind and your intelligence both can only be controlled by doing loving devotional service. Everything eventually comes to this point number one, the basics. The basic is, unless you start with loving devotional service, you are never going to be able to control the mind or the intelligence. I have seen repeatedly very great philosophers, so-called gurus, acharyas and so on, they get very angry suddenly, or they lose control of their mind. They lose control of their intelligence also. I've seen an old man, acharya so-called something, Rajneesh or something, he was in the old days at Pune, associating with young girls. I was surprised. What is this? For what? So this is the point, that because he was not doing devotional service. So loving devotional service is defined by one word in Hindi, in Sanskrit, as bhakti. Bhakti is loving devotional service is bhakti. It's equivalent. So unless you start with bhakti, all your jnana, knowledge, is of no use. All your good karmas is of no use, because you'll again get birth, again get old age, again get disease, and so on. Right? So let us swim in this wonderful ocean called Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Now how did it start, you may ask? It started like this. There was a gentleman who got thoroughly fed up of his high position. He was a millionaire, multi-millionaire. He was a minister in the kingdom of, at that time, Bengal. And he and his brother both were very, very rich. They had palaces actually. They had tons of gold. Today, we have few ounces of gold and we feel very happy. But these guys had shiploads of gold. Can you imagine? And these were heavy gold coins. It's not some small thin chain which you put around your neck. But they were big gold coins. And they got fed up. So you can imagine. And why were they so fed up? Because they were serving a Muslim king, Nawab Hussain. You know this famous story, no? I think I've said it once earlier. There was one Munimji. Munimji means the person who writes books of accounts in Mathura. And this Munimji was the main accountant and treasurer of all the wealth of Mathura. There was one great Nagar Seth. In the old days, there used to be a Nagar Seth. Nagar Seth means the main moneyed fellow of a whole city. Then he would be like a banker. He would be a banker. Actually, he'd loan out money and so on. So this fellow had the key and the huge safe under his control, this Munim. So he was so happy, you see, that I've got all this control of this wealth. You see, wealth is not very important. Remember this. Control is more important. People are very wealthy in this country and they don't know sometimes, in this country or any country, they don't know how much wealth they've got. But what they really want is control of that wealth, control of people, control of influence, control of many things. So this Muni was feeling very happy that I am now the chief, the most wealthy person. I have all this money in my control. One day, a message came from King Akbar. And he said he was going to some war, and he told this Nagar Seth, send me so many crore rupees, gold coins. So Nagar Seth had to send, because the king's order has come, emperor's order. Emperor means king of kings. So he called his Munim, Munimji, idhar aao. We have to send so many cartloads of gold and diamonds and whatever we got. The Munim's heart broke. My God, then what am I, Munim of what? So I might as well go with this cart, So he had to send it to the king, but then he requested to his Nagar Seth ji, मैं इतना सालों से, after so many years I've worked for you, can you give me a transfer to King Akbar? I want to be his Munim. His idea was that, after all, where the money goes, let me go. You see? And I will serve the more richer person. Because Akbar has collected from all over India. And remember, in time of Akbar, 37% of the world's GDP was generated by India. I mean, it's not a joke. More than 1/3 of the whole world's gross domestic product was generated in India. India was very wealthy. That's why all these foreigners wanted to come here. So, this Munim went with it. When he went there, this Akbar, he finished his war and whatnot and became a bigger king. He conquered Afghanistan, he conquered Burma, he conquered Assam, he conquered Sri Lanka, etc. And he made that big map of India. I am emperor of everything, of all I perceive or survey. And Munim was very happy. Then one day Akbar got a dream. Because he used to constantly talk to this gentleman called Birbal. Now Birbal had come from Mathura actually. And he was a very brilliant man. So Birbal kept on telling Akbar, Shahjahan, aap to in Urdu that you think you are the greatest, but actually there is Bankhe Bihari. This is a real true story. Bankhe Bihari in Vrindavan. Who is the real owner of the universe? You are only a small country of India, but who is the owner of the universe? You are not the owner of the universe. So Akbar said, then I must meet him. Then I must offer my wealth to him. So again he called that Munim, because by that time the Munim had joined Akbar. And Akbar said, fill up all these cards. So Munim said, oh no, not again. And again he filled up all the cards. And where are we going? Back to Mathura. Arey baap re. Back to square zero. So he went to Vrindavan. Vrindavan is in the district of Mathura. So he went there. And Akbar offered his obeisances to Bankhe Bihari ji. And the door was opened, closed. And everything was offered to Bankhe Bihari. So Munim said, I have got to work for Bankhe Bihari. Everything's gone here. See, it's attachment. But different type of karma. I'm trying to tell you that it was not vikarma. Okay, vikarma is poisonous karma. But this karma of this Munim was pure karma. And how this karma changed to akarma, I'm trying to explain. So this Bankhe Bihari is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I must serve him. So he begged that chief pujari, मेरे को कोई भी job दे दो. I want any job. I am a Munim of the king, emperor. I am prepared to be your Munim. He says, no, I have already got a Munim. But our doorkeeper is very old. He is retiring tomorrow. So you become a doorkeeper. He says, yes, I'll do anything. But in due course, you promote me. Take care of me. So, okay. So he became a doorkeeper of Bankhe Bihari. So when he became the doorkeeper, the chief pujari told him, be very careful. We've got a lot of wealth inside. The door must be closed at night, otherwise dacoits may come or rob or something. So under no circumstances should ever the door be allowed to be opened at night. And you should die, but you should never allow the door to be opened. Okay, no problem. So here, this Munim is now the doorkeeper, Bankhe Bihari. But you know what happens at Sharad Purnima? Everybody knows. We have here also Sharad Purnima festival. Lord Krishna wants to go and do Ras dance. Bapre. So the door automatically opened at night on that full moon night of Sharad Purnima. So Munim said, how did this door open? I'm not supposed to allow this door to open. He tried his best to keep it closed, but his strength versus Lord Krishna's strength is nothing. Because Lord Krishna is unlimited strength, one of his opulences. So the door flung open, and this Munim was thunderstruck that the Lord is going away. So, but he was shivering also, it was quite cold. So the Lord said, Bichara Munim ne bahut try kiya, he's a good chap. Let me give him my shawl. So Lord Krishna gave his shawl and put it on this Munim. And Munim fainted. He was receiving the shawl of any of you would faint. I would faint. Because getting such close, intimate relationship with God and God giving you a gift of His own shawl. And that is Yogamaya. We'll explain about Yogamaya in a few minutes. And so this Munim went, Lord Krishna went and did his Ras Leela, but it was in transcendental Ras Leela, not like what we see on TV and Navratra here. But then he came back and everything closed, but the Munim had that shawl. So when in the morning the Pujari came, he said, where's the shawl? Where's the shawl of the Lord? The door is closed. Munim only must have opened the door. And he felt cold and he put on the shawl. Nasty fellow. So he beat the hell out of that Munim. He beat him and beat him with a stick. The poor fellow was black and blue. And then he said, no, the Lord gave me the shawl. He said, you rascal, you're talking about the Lord? How can you talk like this? No, the Lord cannot give shawl to anybody. This is what I'm trying to tell you. The Pujari, the chief Pujari, was not doing pure transcendental devotional service. Even if you are so close to the Lord, even if you are the chief Pujari, but if you don't have the transcendental loving service to the Lord, you don't understand the Lord and His activities. Which is that 4.9? Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo viti tattvata taktva deham punarjanma neti mameti so Arjuna. It is a pure devotee only can tell you about the transcendental appearance and transcendental activities of the Lord. Then you need not again take birth again. That happens only in ISKCON. I am telling you frankly, I have tried many temples in the past. You get full knowledge of transcendental appearance and transcendental activities of Lord Krishna in ISKCON. That's a fact. So coming back to this, Munim. This poor fellow got black and blue, bleeding all over. Because that Pujari should need not have done so much punishment, just for the sake of this. At night, the Pujari got a very bad nightmare. The Lord himself, Bhakya Bihari, beat him up black and blue. In the morning when he woke up, he was all really hurt, And Lord said to him in the dream that Pujari, that watchman was correct. I had to go out and I gave the shawl. So you apologize to him and bring him back again in yours and make him now the Munim in charge of the accounts. That is how the Munim became the chief accountant of Bhakya Bihari. Now this story was told to me at Bhakya Bihari by a chief Pujari. So I presume it's true because now the chief Pujari's parampara must have changed, they had change of heart. So this is the point that your vikarmas cannot be changed. This is a pile of vikarmas unless you clean it with the Mahamantra soap. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This Mahamantra is really a transcendental soap. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I am not saying. By cleansing the heart, only you can remove these anarthas. So now we come back to Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami has decided that enough is enough. I don't want to now stay under this Muslim king, just like that fellow wanted to serve the Lord. From the Shastras, he came to a conclusion. Rupa Goswami was a brilliant scholar, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He found out. And so what happened? You want to hear this? Or shall I read it out? This is from Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, chapter 1. This is right at the beginning, teachings of Rupa Goswami. Srila Rupa Goswami, the younger brother of Sanatana Goswami, went to Prayag, the modern city of Allahabad, with his younger brother Vallabha. And what happened there? They went there and they searched and searched, where is Lord Chaitanya? They'd heard that he has come here. Then they heard Mridang somewhere and chanting loudly of the Mahamantra and everybody dancing and singing. So they realized that in whole of Prayag, only here there is this chant, at Allahabad, this chanting. So they went to Lord Chaitanya, but from a distance. And they were watching him for a while. Because it's the first time they saw Lord Chaitanya doing this. And then, afterwards, when everything had cooled down and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had gone to Maharashtrian Brahman for his lunch, that's where he was staying incidentally. And there they went outside the door and waited for the Lord to finish his lunch and his rest. In the evening they met Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya at once recognized Rupa Goswami. Who is Rupa Goswami? Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari in the spiritual world, a very close associate of Radharani. Now the secret is this. You all want to learn the secret? The secret is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Krishna in the mood of Radharani. Every associate of Lord Chaitanya is a particular personality. I'll explain, like Ramanand Rai is none other than Arjun. But he is in the mood of one of the Manjaris to assist Radharani. Similarly, each one of the associates of Lord Chaitanya is having the male associate of Krishna, but is in the mood of the female associate of Radharani. Now is it clear? So they are together in one. Because supposing a man, in the old days I remember in India it was like this, a man would go on the stage, but he would dress like a woman, and he would sing and he would dance and everything like a woman. Because women were not supposed to go on the stage. So men had to play the part of a woman. Okay? I'm just giving an example, that they would be in the mood of a female. So, Lord Chaitanya at once recognized that this is my old associate Rupa Goswami. And he kept him there with him for 10 days, alone, secretly on a ghat. There's a name of that ghat, it's a long, long name. Vishwambharaya Ghat. 10 days. He taught him this, The Dashwamedha Ghat. Correct. For 10 days he taught him there this science of Krishna consciousness. We are all here in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. But the root of this International Society for Krishna Consciousness was at that ghat, where Lord Chaitanya personally was the teacher, and his first student was Rupa Goswami. And he wrote all this down for our benefit in a book called Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. And for our benefit, Prabhupada translated this into Nectar of Devotion. Now, the important part I am linking up with this shlok we are doing today is on page here, where Lord Chaitanya explains the 5 rasas. Everybody knows these 5 rasas? Positive rasas I am talking, not about the 7 negative ones. The 5 positive rasas, starting with the person who starts doing devotional service, some amount of devotional service, initially starts getting peaceful. Isn't it? Shanta rasa. He becomes peaceful. He is not agitated all the time. So that is known as Shanta rasa. He starts realizing the Sat portion of Sat Chit Ananda. This is step number 1. You understand what is Sat, eternal truth. And then you understand the supreme eternal truth, which is Lord Krishna himself, of course. But that is only one aspect. That's the Brahman aspect. And sometimes these people stop there. They say, oh, I have understood the absolute truth. What need for me to do anything more? And they stop doing devotional service. That's a bad thing. If you must continue, just like you are in the first standard, then you go to second standard, 10th standard, 11th, 12th, then you go for a degree or whatever. So you must continue your study. So once this, I'll give the examples they are given here, that there were these 9 yogis, you know, this, it's in the 11th canto, right? The sons of Rishabdev. They were in Shantaras. They were an example of Shantaras. Another example of Shantaras is the Sanat Kumars. Originally were in Shantaras. But what happened to the Sanat Kumars? They walked up to heaven. Can you imagine? It's very difficult, no? But they went beyond heaven and they went to the river Viraja. And they even crossed the river Viraja to Vaikuntha Dham. And when they reached Vaikuntha Dham, they smelt the tulsi leaves at the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Even by smelling the tulsi leaves, their devotional service restarted, reignited. Okay, which had got cooled down. In Shantaras, devotional service is little cooled down. You are not serving other devotees. That is the problem. So that is not good for the long run, because you may fall down from that position of Brahman. You follow? We have to go forward, you have to move on. So when you move on to the second stage, which is called Dasyaras, of servitorship. And the easiest way to serve Krishna is to start serving his devotees. Okay? Once you start serving devotees, Krishna is pleased. The whole idea is, in Shantaras, Krishna is not that pleased. Please try to understand. Unless you please Krishna, you are not going to go forward. Means you don't get promoted. Means from first standard to second standard. The teacher has to be pleased. It's as simple as that. The teacher has to give a good remark on your report card. Yes, I'm very happy with this child. I promote to the second standard. If the teacher is saying, oh, he's dull, he's just sitting quietly and doing nothing, then there's no promotion. You have to go to the Dasyaras. Dasyaras opens the doors. Try to understand. Shantaras is still, the door is closed. For Sanat Kumars, the doors were closed. They tried to barge in. That is why there was that problem with the doorkeeper. So, after the second stage, Dasyaras, the doors of devotional service open up. And you can really enter into a relationship with the Lord. The idea is always to have a relationship. Of course, Prabhupada gives the example, not me. A young boy and a young girl, they meet each other, look at each other, but that is no good unless there is a relationship, isn't it? Then only things will move forward. This is not for brahmacharis I am talking about. There is no way I am trying to influence you guys. Now, Dasyaras, there are so many examples of Raktak, Chitraka, Patrak in Golok, in Gokul Ras. Means in Golok Vrindavan, these are the Dasya. Of course, the topmost is none other than our Hanumanji. In fact, why topmost? Because Arjun accepted him as the topmost. That's why he put Hanuman on the top of his flag, on top of the chariot, topmost. Simple. You see? Arjun felt that if Hanuman could win the fight, get across the ocean into Sri Lanka and burn the hell out of Sri Lanka and all that, and do so many things Hanuman could do, so let me put Hanuman on top, then I can do something worthwhile. That is the important thing. We should put other devotees on top. You understood now? That is Dasyaras. Dasyaras does not mean I want service. No, I want to put all the other devotees on top and I will serve them. If they are on top, then the lotus feet are there, no? So we can always do service to the lotus feet because we are below them. So that is why the feet is like that. Why lotus feet? Why lotus eyes? What is so great about lotus? The thing is, the lotus is always pure. If you go in a muddy pool, at Karla in our farm I've seen, it's a very muddy pool, but the lotus is there blooming, and not one drop of water or mud sticks to the lotus. It's surprising. All other flowers, all other leaves, everything gets dirty. But the lotus does not. It is taking all the benefit from that muddy water, but it does not become like muddy water. So we have to be in this world, but not of this world. That is what Prabhupada tells us. Is that clear? Today I've got loads of time. 10 o'clock, so another half an hour. So here we go. Dasya Ras. So we have in Dwarka, see, I already told you in Gokul there are these three, Raktak, Chitraka and Patraka. 3 shifts. You know, in India also we have 3 shifts, no? So Krishna is these 3 shift servants. Dasyas. So in the morning shift there is Raktak, afternoon there is Chitrak, and night shift there is Patrak. Then when Krishna wants somebody to run his chariot, Krishna has who? Daruka. And in the Vaikuntha planets there is, in Ram's planet, there is a separate planet for Lord Ram and Sita. Just like there is a separate planet for Narsingadev. Incidentally, I want to tell you something very interesting. For a minute we'll digress, okay? I was reading this Garga Samhita. And in this Garga Samhita, Lord Brahma, in my earlier lecture I told you Lord Brahma had got Krishna and Radharani married, no? But do you know the first prayer I found out? The first prayer that Lord Brahma in Brahma Samhita, because it was lost, no, up to 1, 2 and 3 chapters. What we are chanting is the 4th chapter. But the first time Lord Brahma chanted was, it's stated here in Garga Samhita, I take shelter of you. The original Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna Chandra, without beginning, the beginning of everything, affectionate to your devotees, the master of countless universes, greater than the greatest, and the husband of Radha. This is the very first slok. At least we've got that now. The first time Lord Brahma chanted his Tuti, Brahma Samhita, was with this slok. He started with this when it was marriage of Lord Krishna and Radharani. You are the playful king of Golok, and she is your playful companion. When you are the king of Vaikuntha, she is the daughter of Vrishabhanu, and she is known as Lakshmi. So the same expansion of Radharani is known as Lakshmi, isn't it? In the Vaikuntha planets. Furthermore, when you are Ramchandra, she is Janak's daughter Sita. When you are Lord Hari, those who got pen and pen, please write down. When you are Lord, because Lord Brahma himself is telling us, so greatest teacher. When you are Lord Hari, she is known as Kamala. So it's Radha and Krishna, Sita and Ram, and Kamala Hari. Ever heard of this? I just found it. So it's Kamala. So when you are Lord Hari, she is Kamala. When you are Yagna Avatar, she is Dakshina. When you are Yagna, because we say, no, Yagya Purush. So Lord Vishnu, Yagya. So his consort is known as Dakshina, D-A-K-S-I-N-A, Dakshina. When you appeared as Narsingha, she was known as Rama Lakshmi, Rama. When you are Nara's friend, Narayan Rishi, she becomes goddess Shanti. So she is the associate. This is Brahma teaching. I thought it was too good, not to miss it in this class. So, Narayan Rishi's wife is known as Shanti, associate of Narayan Rishi, Shanti, who follows you like a shadow. When you are Brahman, like in Satchitanand Brahman. She is known as Prakriti. When you are time, Kala, she is known as Pradhan. When you are time. Because Krishna says, time I am, the destroyer of all. Kalosmi. The energy of time is known as Pradhan. When you are Mahatattva, from which the universes are sprouted, you are known as Maya. So, now you know what is Maya. Because these are the various levels of Radharani expansions. Incidentally, I heard from a very wonderful personality, Prabhupada's disciple. His name is Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj. I was in Durban, South Africa, on 5th September 2011, Radha Ashtami, and he was giving the lecture on Radha Ashtami, and he said, he was discussing about the wonderful activities of Radha and Krishna, that Purnamasi is the female energy potency of Paramatma. So, now you have Brahman's energy known as Prakriti, and Paramatma's female energy potency is known as Purnamasi. Now you know the identity of who is Purnamasi. Incidentally, I went and did a little more research on Purnamasi because I wanted to know everything about Purnamasi. So, I came to know that Purnamasi, this is on page 42-43 of Rupa Goswami's book, another book of Rupa Goswami, not Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, but this is Sri Sri Radha Krishna Ganodesha Deepika. There is a book written by Rupa Goswami called Sri Sri Radha Krishna Ganodesha Deepika. On page 42 and 43, he writes about Purnamasi Devi. Full of all transcendental opulences, Purnamasi Devi is the incarnation of Yogmaya's potency. She makes the pastimes of Lord Krishna to be properly performed. She is slightly tall. You have seen some ladies who are slightly tall. And she is fair. You have seen some ladies who are tall and fair. And she wears only red clothes. And her hair is the color of casa flower. I don't know what is casa flower, but anyway, it's casa flower. She is greatly respected by Nanda Maharaj and all Vrijbasis. She is a dear student. Anybody can guess? Purnamasi is a student of whom? Disciple of whom? It came as a surprise to me. Purnamasi, she is the student of Devarshi Narad Muni. Haribol! Purnamasi is, this is stated by none other than an authority of Rupa Goswami. Devarshi Narad Muni. And on his advice, he instructed her. She left her favorite son, Sandipani Muni, and in Avantipur, and came to Gokul to serve Krishna directly. Isn't it interesting? Impelled by great love for Lord Krishna. So it was Narad Muni who sent his dear disciple Purnamasi to Gokul. And she left her own beloved son with whom she was staying, called Sandipani Muni, where Krishna and Balram went for study. Okay? Little bit of research is necessary to do these sort of things. So coming back to this, the Dasyaras, we've understood, is a wonderful position because you cannot easily fall down. Try to understand. You can fall down from Shantaras. Not that all these guys who go to Shantaras fall down. It's not like that. But it is a possibility. Because you are only looking at Brahman, you are looking at Paramatma at the most. But you are not going and serving devotees. Because once you do service of a devotee, you get the mercy of a devotee. And that mercy sustains your bhakti. Bhakti cannot sustain, just like a plant, it's Bhakti Lata Bij actually, it requires nourishment. And that nourishment is bhakti. Bhakti Lata Bij is bhakti. And it requires mercy of bhakti, of devotional service. So the same, just like we run a small farm, so I know that when you have a farm, there are trees and plants and so on. So what happens, when the same leaves of banana, we crush it and mix it with cow urine and cow dung and give it back to the banana. So it's a banana leaf, like bhakti, devotional service. That service you do to devotees, they give you mercy, and that only sustains your bhakti. Now it's clear? It's a feedback cycle in my language, in engineering. Any engineers here? So you understand what I'm talking about, feedback cycle. So it's exactly that. The signal goes back. Okay. Now we go further. You want to go further from Dasya? Dasya Ras. We go further. What happens is, when Krishna desires and accepts you as a very intimate Dasya, very close friend, Dasa. You have to read Dasya Ras before you become a friend. After Dasya Ras, because Krishna says that you are more than my servant, you are my personal friend, you cannot say, Krishna, Krishna, I am your friend. No. It's not like that. It's not like that. You can't force yourself on Krishna. But Krishna says, you have done so much service for me, you have done so much for me, I love you so much, you are my intimate friend. That's when the bond becomes very strong. And that becomes Sakhya Ras. In Sakhya Ras, there is of course Sridhama in Vrindavan, Arjuna in Dwarka, battlefield Kurukshetra, and so on. Now what happens is, a very interesting thing happens. In Dasya Ras and Sakhya Ras, after doing service to devotees and Krishna, sometimes you get a feeling that Krishna depends on you. Bapre. Once you get that feeling that Krishna is dependent on me, and if I don't give this milk to Krishna, Krishna will starve, that is Yashoda Mai's thinking. And that is a transcendental plane known as Vatsalya Ras, where the devotee feels that Krishna is going to suffer unless I do more devotional service. So up to the stage of friendship, it is almost like equal. Okay? 1 to 1. But here now you go 2 to 1, where you feel that you have to do more for Krishna than Krishna can do for you. That is called Vatsalya Prem. Now you are entering into an area of another type of love, Prem. Just like the mother has love for her child, because she will automatically feel when the child is born that this child will die unless I feed my breast milk. At that time, she's not going to say, bring me the bottle and bring me that, what is that thing, Nestle something or whatever, Complan or whatever. She will, automatically the milk will come. It is there in which document, book? Do you know this? It is in the Holy Quran. Surprising. In the Holy Quran, there is a surah. Surah means verse. That, Lord, you are so kind. Allah, Lord meaning Allah at that time. You are so kind that you convert the mother's blood into milk. It's a factory to convert blood into milk. Because that's what it is. Milk is white blood, actually, according to the Holy Quran. So it automatically gets converted. By what? By the love of Vatsalya Prem. So this is the beauty of it. Of course, men may not understand it so much. But women know it. Those at least who have been mothers. That automatically you get this milk flowing from the breast due to the mother remembering the child. So Vatsalya Prem, as Yashoda Mai experienced, she experienced automatic milk coming out. It's not like automatic vending machine. But what I'm saying is that there's so much love of hers that she doesn't need the child even to look at her. By thinking of Krishna only, the milk starts flowing. So that is really its stage which is very, very difficult. And that is the stage of this shlok. That's why we went a little roundabout, but here that is. The two people in Vatsalya Prem, Vatsalya Ras, Vasudev was lamenting because he and Nanda Maharaj, both are in Vatsalya Ras, could not live together. Now here is the point. Vasudeva was lamenting. The question is, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says in 3 places, oh my God, I forgot my Bhagavad Gita. Anybody got Bhagavad Gita here? Bhagavad Gita do mere ko. I think it is in the 2nd chapter, text number 25. Just see, 25, 26, 27, something like that. So, 3 times Krishna says, do not lament, do not lament, do not lament. Is it there? Lamentation something. So, do not lament for the living or for the dead. Do not lament for this. Is it there? I am trying to remember my shloks of Bhagavad Gita. है क्या उसमें? 26 में है ना? हाँ वही. If, however, you think that the soul will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament. Number 1. Second time he says, one who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Means there are 2 types of births, either material birth or spiritual birth. So once you die, all of us are going to die in this room or anywhere in this world. But after we die, what? Either you take a birth of a spiritual nature or of the material nature. Okay? At the moment, we've all got material nature birth. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. 2nd time. 3rd time. All created beings are unmanifest in the beginning and manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So, what is the need for lamentation? 3 times he says. See, Krishna says. So, why did this gentleman want to lament? His own son is telling, of course, much later, that 3 times he says, do not lament, do not lament. You should not lament. But you should not lament for material things. Oh, I had so much wealth and all my wealth is gone. Arre, chodo yaar. That was never your wealth. You came naked, you will go naked. 2nd, somebody dies, my servant has gone away. Many women in Bombay have to cry these days. The servant runs away or the boy runs away. That's unfortunate. It happens all the time now. Everyone, rich or poor, the servants run away these days. So, and then this is a poor housewife has to lament. You see? But Krishna said, don't lament. Do it yourself. Clean your own room, cook your own food. What to do? So, but here is the case where they are lamenting because they are missing the association of a devotee. I told you, only association of devotees gives you bhakti, mercy, and that mercy maintains the Bhakti Lata Bij and that grows. Okay? And eventually it is stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita, I'm forgetting Madhya Lila, Anta Lila, towards the end. The Bhakti Lata Bij penetrates through the material coverings, there are so many coverings, to the spiritual world. And you are carried on that. So, your bhakti is your vehicle. We are not talking about bhakti as some tamasha or something. We are not trying to just chant the holy name and dance and shout and all that. No, bhakti is a very important vehicle to take us, transport us from this material world to the spiritual world. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. That is stated in the Shastras. 3 times it is stated. Where is it stated? In Kalishantar Upanishad? No. Narad Purana. Narad Narad Muni himself says, Kalo nasteva, kalo nasteva, kalo nasteva, gatiryanatha. Hare nama eva kevalam, kalo nasteva, 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 gatiryanatha. Correct? So Narad Muni himself says this, that there is no other way. Now why should we try other ways when already an authority has told us? It's like somebody saying that this is a straight road to Chopati, and then you say, no, I want to go that way, towards Grant Road. I mean, this is stupid, no? Because that way you have to go all the way around the earth before you come here. So this is the wrong direction. So the right direction is given by proper authorities. And we just have to follow these authorities. Now what happens is, Krishna has accepted you as a friend. Then who are we to say no to him? Chalo bhai, we are happy. We are promoted from Dasya Ras to Sakhya Ras. And that's real pleasure. Because sometimes in the fighting, Krishna has to carry you also. You see, if he gets defeated. Means actually God never gets defeated. But because there is love and affection between the two friends, that's how they behave with each other. In Vatsalya Prem, we have reached a level where you feel that, oh my God, that milk nahi diya Krishna ko, he must be so hungry, or food nahi diya, we have not given him this evening feed, oh, I have not given him bath, he must be feeling very dirty, or whatever, new clothes I have to give, let's make something new. So actually speaking, many of these pujaris, Radhanath Maharaj once told me, many of the pujaris who do long years and years of puja, they start developing these rases with the deity. They feel, the deity I must get up early in the morning, otherwise deity will be hungry whole night. That prem starts. So that has to come in Vatsalya Prem. And then last of all, when all of these come together, they become conjugal ras. Conjugal ras is a Suman Bonam. Suman Bonam means all together, like an orchestra. You have heard, sometimes the violin is playing, sometimes piano is playing, sometimes the drums are playing, sometimes cymbals. But when a crescendo happens, towards the end, you heard Beethoven or somebody like that, you will understand what I am saying. It becomes a real masterpiece. So this is really the culmination of everything. And only Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained this. That's very interesting. Nowhere in any of the Shastras, Madhurya Ras has been explained. Come on. Neither Ramanacharya, nor Yumanacharya, nor Madhvacharya, nor Vallabhacharya, nor Nimbarkara, nobody has explained, ever come to this stage of conjugal ras. This is the point. I challenge anyone, because I have gone through very carefully reading that Madhurya Ras details were only given by Lord Chaitanya to Rupa Goswami. And it is Rupa Goswami who broke open the doors, windows, walls of the warehouse of Prem of Krishna and said, Luto! There is a shop called Loot in Bombay. But they gone bankrupt because everybody had looted it. But here there is unlimited amount of looting material, unlimited amount of Krishna Prem. You can take whatever you want, take as much as you want, as long as you want. And still that will be not finished. Where is the shlok for this? What is the authority? Praman. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Isha Avasyamidam Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Tyaktena Bunjithaha Magrada Kasya Svidanam. So from the Purna, complete whole, W-H-O-L-E, not H-O-L-E, W-H-O-L-E, from the complete whole, more holes come out, W-H-O-L-E, and still the whole remains the whole. Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnata, Purnabhajate. And never gets empty. Now, we have not experienced that in this world. If there is a pot of rice, you take out everything, it doesn't mean that again it will be covered. Except in ISKCON. when Gaurang Prabhu is cooking. I have seen that. 4,000 people he cooks for. And then suddenly 1,000, 2,000 more turn up. And suddenly within a few minutes, he is happily serving. So in the service, there is greater joy than receiving the service. That is the point. Gaurang Prabhu and his team, when they are serving us in the yatras, I have seen they are at greater bliss than us, who are partaking. How? Why? Because time is on their side, Krishna is on their side. Because they have to cook for longer time. We can eat for only half an hour, but they have to cook for hours and hours. So Krishna is with them. So when Krishna is more with them, then the batteries are charged more. Because Krishna is like a spiritual battery, you see, and you get surcharge. Now the batteries, wires and connections are the Evam Parampara. Because this is also stated by Prabhupada. Krishna is like a powerhouse, means like, Tata Power at Chembur. And these bulbs and all these things are like Jivatmas. And the connection is the Evam Parampara. So, shall we stop here? Otherwise I will go on and on. Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments about this shlok? The shlok was that many planks and sticks unable to stay together are carried away by the force of river's waves. Similarly, although we are intimately related with friends and family members, materially, we are unable to stay together because of our varied past deeds and waves of time. Okay? Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? It seems there is none. So either everybody understood or not understood, I don't know. But anyway, thank you very much. I know you are all keen to get back to wherever you came from, or you have to run marathon. This life is like a marathon actually. So, in my family, 4 members are running today. But they are running for ISKCON, midday meal, food for life. They are collecting. So last year, our Gaurangi, our young granddaughter, she collected, I think, 6 lakhs. So I told her, this time it is 10 lakhs is your target. And her mother collected 13 lakhs. So I said, you have to collect 20 lakhs for food for life. So they are running now. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.